Welcome to another episode of the PFF College Football Show. Max Chadwick alongside Dalton Wasserman. Dalton, maybe our most special guest that we've ever brought onto the show right now. BYU quarterback Jake Retzlaff in the midst of an amazing season for himself and the Cougars as well. Jake, thanks so much for taking the time out, man.
Yeah, of course, guys. Thanks for having me on.
So, Jake, we have to address the elephant in the room with our show and with me specifically, all right? There's been the graphic floating around ESPN and all the graphics. There it is right there. Our social media team does such a great job, making these gorgeous graphics, and I just go and ruin them with my opinions, right? So, look, for those who don't know, I did a preseason ranking actually of all 70 Power 5 quarterbacks, and when they split it up into the Big 12, I had Jake ranked last in the Big 12 coming into the season, right? There was some struggles with the entire team last year and some preseason expectation. You were in a quarterback competition with Gary Bohannon, who's a veteran who's been around college football a long time. And listen, in the words of the great Shaquille O'Neal, I owe you an apology. I wasn't really familiar with your game. All right, look, you have just done everything you possibly can to prove, especially me specifically, wrong. I know you've used that as some motivation, but listen, I wouldn't blame you one bit for admitting it. How much has your hatred of me fueled the run that you guys are on right now?
Listen, you mentioned the 70 Power 5. I think you had me at like 68 on that one too. So that one wasn't much better.
It's trust me, you have done.
Talk your shit, Jake. Come on.
Let me tell you something. You have done what Max has been unable to do all season, and that's proved me wrong beyond a reasonable doubt.
We know, you and I know that Dalton does not know ball. He knows negative ball. So you doing this is beautiful, dude. So just how much do you hate Dalton, honestly? I just want to get into that a little bit.
I got no hatred, man, for you. I think that people make mistakes, okay? And that's what we love about being human, right? Is we're all human.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. It was 69 on that ranking.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Oh, see, that's
nice, though. It's a nice ranking, though. You got to admit.
Yeah.
That's not too bad.
Look, no, you're absolutely right. And sometimes, look, you get some things and some mistakes where you got to sit back and go back and reevaluate things. Absolutely. So next year when I make that same list, there's going to might be a little different process there, and you're the biggest reason for it for sure. But no, I mean, what a hell of a season you're on, and just spectacular stuff you and your whole team are doing right now.
Jake, when you saw that graphic, dude, what went through your mind? Like, did you hang it up in your locker? Was it a screensaver in your phone? Like, what went through your mind when you saw that?
It was definitely it was talked about. Like, I remember when I saw it, I was eating. It was during camp, and we're eating one of our camp meals, and so there's a bunch of guys around me. My tight end pulled it up right after I saw it. He's like, "Hey, did you see this?" I was like, "Yeah, it's hilarious. This is awesome." But that has been the story of our offseason, to be honest with you. It was not just me ranked bottom of the Big 12. It was our team was ranked bottom of the Big 12 to start the year. You know what I mean? We were expected to be nothing but an afterthought. Definitely not the leader of the Big 12 competition, Big 12 race this late in the season. But yeah, and so it was just, for me, it was like, this is great, man. This is another thing to add, more fuel to the fire. We had plenty of it this offseason as a team, and that was definitely one of the main personal fuels.
Dude, not only has you proved everyone wrong, you're proving everyone wrong every week, dude. Like last week against UCF, you guys were underdogs in that game. Even though you guys were undefeated and UCF was below 500. How does it feel every single freaking week now? You and the BYU Cougars are just proving every expert wrong.
It's great to prove people wrong, but honestly, we're just proving us right. If you ask the guys in this building, man, we were expected to be in this situation. We knew that we had something special here. And I'll tell you what, that feeling started right when last season ended. Winter workouts, we attacked it. Spring ball, we attacked it. Summer workouts, all the way to fall camp, and obviously to now. And so we knew that we had something special. And so we were excited to put that on the field. When we saw the ranking or the spread last week, we were like, what do these people think they know? We feel like we're in the know because we watch our film. We know how good we are. We watch their film. We know how good they are, and we're like, what are these people seeing? Is there a magical, that rocket ship taking off? Was that supposed to provide some power? I believe we scored the touchdown that set that off. So, it's fun to look at it and fun to prove people wrong for sure. And it makes it more fun for us to prove more people wrong. But at the end of the day, we're proving ourselves right.
Hey, let's be clear real quick so we know I'm on the wagon. Every week we each pick an upset pick, okay? And I had to, when I saw that spread that you guys were underdogs against UCF, I said the same thing. I was like, absolutely no way. Like, what more proof do we need that this is a good football team? I know it's a cross-country trip, but to me, that was the obvious pick. They were mad at me because that was the pick that I got to take. I got to it first in our underdog picks. I was like, it didn't, to me, I'm with you. It didn't make any sense the way that you guys had played early in the season, that you guys were underdogs in that game. So, I mean, props to you again, undefeated, another big win, and a long cross-country trip on the road. Let's get into you for a minute here, because not only, obviously, everyone sees you and your team are incredibly improved, right? But we actually have the numbers to back this up, okay? For our PFF grading, okay, all our analysts do this every single week. They look at every single play twice over, all right? You are the single most improved quarterback in the FBS, over a 38-point increase on your overall grade from last year. From your angle, right, we're going to get into some different things that we think it might be and some different things you're doing great on tape. For you, what's the single biggest reason for that just massive improvement this year?
I think that that improvement is probably pretty equivalent to the improvement along the team, along the grades in the O-line, the grades in the receiver, the grades in the running backs. Like, I'd be surprised if those grades weren't jumping a lot. And, maybe not as drastic, but they're definitely jumping a lot. And so, dude, we're just playing together. This team is a special team, man. The way these guys come together, the way we play for each other, the way we approach every week is just so incredible. And so I'm proud of these guys for doing that in the offseason. Like, I know I made big steps in the offseason. I know I sat down, watched a lot of film. I know I put a lot of good stuff out there in spring ball and then in fall camp, and now in the season it's starting to translate to game reps, obviously. But I just know that it's been easier and easier to do that because of the confidence I have in the guys around me this year. And last year I was thrown in late, you know what I mean, those last 4 games, and coming off of, coming in for a guy's injury and stuff like that. And not everything was there. And we weren't obviously clicking up last year offensively. I think this is, you talk about a grade jump. I think offensively, I mean, yards per game in every category, we have jumped incredibly as an offense. And so I think as a media and as what we do in football is attribute too much of that to the quarterback. And I'm just going to defer that, as a quarterback should, to the guys around me.
Well, hell yeah, dude. Well, listen, there's a lot of awards that are given out in college football every year. The Heisman Trophy, Biletnikoff, like all named after someone. I want to announce right now, we are actually making an award at the end of the year called the Jake Retzlaff Award, where it's given out to the most improved player in college football, just for from pure grading perspective. So you right now, Jake, you are the heavy favorite for the Jake Retzlaff Award, the first inaugural Jake Retzlaff Award. There's other players that are competing with you for the Jake Retzlaff Award, but it's going to be really a fun award that we're going to do every single year now, not just this year, every single year from now on. So maybe we can get you to FaceTime in to give out the Jake Retzlaff Award every year at the end of it.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool deal, man. I'm happy to be a part of it. Man, maybe I didn't know being so bad last year would pay off so much this year, but it's a cool deal, man. Appreciate it.
Listen, stuff, you didn't lock up the Jake Retzlaff Award yet, though. You're still in contention with some other players, so you still got to go the rest of the way. But you are a favorite, Jake Retzlaff, for the Jake Retzlaff Award. But listen, man, this isn't the first time you proved doubters wrong, though. Obviously, you're a JUCO product coming into BYU. Did that naturally develop a chip on your shoulder entering BYU?
Yeah, my entire career has been about proving people wrong, starting from the beginning. In high school, didn't get any recruiting. COVID hit, recruiting shut us down. And so all those guys who stopped recruiting because of COVID, shame on them, and I'm going to prove them all wrong. There was even a junior college back home, at Riverside City College, said they didn't want me because they had enough quarterbacks. That year, I went to Golden West and ended up beating them in their first home regular season loss in 10 years.
Hell yeah.
And so that was probably the first guy I proved wrong in a lot of ways. And so it's just been about that since the beginning. And so seeing us as underdogs, man, it's just, that's why I say it makes everything more fun and makes it I smile. When I see the underdog stuff, I smile. I love it because I think it's just so awesome that people continue to get us wrong, to get me wrong. And, we're looking forward to the day that we're a heavy favorite, and honestly, I'm not looking forward to that. That's wrong. I said I'm not. It's going to be a boring time. I'm hoping to stay this way.
Hell yeah.
Just loves being the underdog. And I'll tell you what, your team has come into this season as an underdog. Look, the betting odds had your preseason win total at 4.5. You've already darn near doubled that. I want to know, because a lot of times when people ask me, like, why is BYU good? And the two reasons I give them are your improvement, obviously, and then your guys' ability to just play complementary football, right? I don't know if that's a phrase that floats around your locker room a lot, but you have such balance as a team, and maybe it's not specifically one superstar first-round pick type of player that's carrying you guys, but you're such a well-balanced team. How did your team as a whole take that underdog mentality into this season to get where you are right now?
Yeah, man, you said it. It's the complimentary football. We talk about that, every week. That's something that's in the Friday cut-up at the end of the week in our team meeting, and it's just like, it's something we talk about, but it's that reminder at the end of the week, like, play complimentary football. We always show a couple of things like that we talk about. We don't talk about a lot of analytics, but we do talk about the middle eight. And complimentary football, and I'll tell you what, the number one example for that for everybody anywhere in the country was when we played K-State here at home. I mean, we scored, late in the half, and then we come out, get a turnover, score again, get another turnover, score again, and we weren't coming away with 3. We were coming away with 7 every time, and so that's something that we definitely preach about here in the building, and we know that we are strong together, man, and we, I don't know if we'll have a first round pick this year. I think there's a lot of guys who are underrated, but it's not in the individual, man. It is strength in numbers that we got over here. And there's 11 guys on the field. And those 11 guys play for each other like I've never seen before.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, listen, you got to talk about that Kansas State game, man, because I think everyone going into that game were like, okay, BYU is kind of a cute story, but, like, they're going up against the big guys, right, in the Big 12. Like, we'll see how they do against them. You blew them out of the water, dude. You won by 29 points over Kansas State. Did you guys go into the locker room after that game was over and was like, yeah, we knew this. Like, we can be a legitimate contender, not only in the Big 12, but in the entire nationwide landscape of college football?
Yeah, man, it was fun to, like, be able to put it on display like that, because obviously, like, that was a late game.
Yeah.
We're always that late kick. BYU is always that really late, 8:15 Eastern time kick, and so only the crazy people are up till 2 a.m. watching that game on the East Coast. But the rest of the country, I know, probably is, because I know I am whenever we have an early game, and so it was just, man, it was fun to put that on display like that. You know what I mean? Like, we'd only played I think it was game 4. Or maybe 5 of the season.
4 sounds right, yeah.
Yeah, 4. Game 4 of the season. And so, like, it was only G5, one ACC team, but it was only, the smaller schools. The games are supposed to win. And so going out and winning that game that we weren't supposed to win like that, it just, man, it reaffirmed a lot of the feelings in the locker room. Because, like, it's one thing to feel confident in the team, but to go out and do it against a top 25 team, like, in the country with an offense that's supposed to be really explosive, a defense that is supposed to be really, really tough. And we knew that going into the week that this was going to be a tough defense. They run a different scheme. They run that 3-3-5 scheme where you got to account for that extra player, that safety who plays in the box and makes tackles, TFLs and stuff like that. And so we had to really dive into that week, and we paid a lot of attention. We prepared so well for that game, and to come out winning like that is just like, it proves you right. You know what I mean? It's not that we didn't know. It just helps prove you right and makes you more confident.
Well, dude, we got to talk about the Oklahoma State game real quick as well, because, you've proven us time and time again to stop doubting you. But I will admit, when you guys went down and Oklahoma State took the lead, I was like, all right, well, this is it. Like, this Oklahoma State's going to end up winning this game. You led an incredible drive and threw the game-winning touchdown, like a 40-yard touchdown with like 10 seconds left, man. How calm, cool, and collected were you going into that drive? Because if I was out there, I would have been, like, shaking my cleats, honestly. But you were so calm, cool, and collected, led the game-winning drive. Just what was that all like, and how calm were you going to that drive?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I think if I was watching that as a fan, I'd definitely would have been way more nervous than actually being in the moment. In the moment, it's like, we practice that stuff, man. 2-minute drill is something that this offense is really good at, and we keep proving it week after week. We did it at the end of the half against UCF, and we keep doing it. And so for us, man, it was just go out there and execute. We knew that, in fall camp, like, our offense would roll in 2-minute drill, and it's honestly my favorite drill. It's my most fun part of the game. It's probably 2-minute drill, because I love just dropping back and throwing the ball, those deeper routes, those fun concepts, and so, like, going into it, man, this offense is so secure in that situation that it was just about execution. Just execute your job, man. We're gonna be all right. And so when it happened the way it did, it was obviously incredible. It was obviously awesome, and it's so fun to look back on something like that and and just smile because you're like, man, that was so sick.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic stuff. And your offense has been so efficient all year. And I think in those 2-minute drills, those are moments when you can stay really aggressive as an offense, right? Because you really don't have a choice. You either get aggressive and win it, or you don't, right? So I want to dive into something for you individually, though, that intrigued me, even in your tape from last season. And one of the big positives that I saw was your ability to attack down the middle of the field. Okay, I've got you with a 92.9 passing grade in the middle third of the field when you're talking about, getting up the hash marks, or even, right around that, a little around that, up the seam, things like that. That leads the Power 5. Right now, you're the best Power 5 passer on throws over the middle of the field. I want to know, what is it? The arm talent? Is it just a fearless mentality? What makes you so confident on those types of throws when a lot of quarterbacks want to throw balls out into the perimeter, out into space, they want to check it down? You want to attack the heart of the defense from what I can see on the tape. How do you feel about those throws, and what makes you so confident making them?
Man, I think it's the lost art of quarterbacks thrown over the middle. It's something that, we got away from a lot, especially, you talk about receivers don't even want to run routes over the middle because, you got a guy like Ray Lewis standing in the box ready to end your career. But, man, I love it because, it's guys breaking towards you. It's friendlier routes to me. It's shorter throws to me. And so, you could say it's some arm talent for sure, but it's a shorter throw than the outside throws. The outside throws take a little more arm talent. Now, it definitely it causes you to pay more attention to the middle of the field. I think it's something that I've loved in my career because I feel like I've seen the middle of the field really well. Where that's something where there's a lot going on in there. There's how many backers are dropping, how many are coming, are safeties rolling down in the box, what's going on in the back. There's an O-line in your way that it's harder to see the box sometimes, and so. For me to be able to, at a young age, I was really comfortable throwing the ball over the middle, and I think that's just paid off, as I've, come to the ranks of Power 5 football, and it's been so fun, man, because I love tearing apart because, to be honest with you, those corners are usually the guys outside, the nickels, and the safeties are over top out of there. Those are the athletic DBs. Those linebackers just want to hit somebody in the mouth, so being able to negotiate balls over top of them, around them, I think is easier than those outside guys, and then the combination with the shorter throws, it's over their heads faster, it's by them quicker, and the catch and run on the inside, I think, can be so explosive. You always see, on the outside, they get pushed out of bounds. On the inside, they can catch and move and make a move and make a guy miss. How many times have we done that this year between, Chase and Darius, and those guys they break a tackle in the middle of the field and they run for 30 more yards, and you're just like, how do they do that? And well, it's because they got field. They don't got to run out of bounds.
Dude, not only are you great over the middle of the field, when defenses don't blitz you, you're one of the highest graded quarterbacks in the country as well. 91.2 passing grade. That's third in America right now. There's just something about, when I watch your tape, it's just you're very patient, right? You're waiting for someone to get open. You're not forcing balls. When defenses rush four at you, do you kind of lick your chops a little bit? All right, now I got time back here with my great offensive line to find guys that are open down the field. Do you just love it when defenses don't try to get after you, and that way you have time back there to find your open receivers?
Yeah, I think that at this point in my career, I've seen defenses a lot, and the basic defenses are the ones you've seen the most. And so when they only send four, the odds are the defense is a pretty basic structure of cover three, a pretty basic structure of cover four, cover two, or even one rat. And so when they only send four, I know that the structure is what the structure is, and it's not bizarre. I think that when guys blitz and teams are rotating, it can honestly get a little more complicated, and it's more an art to me to tear up the blitz defense than it is to tear up the basic defense. Because when they only send four, man, you're never doing something crazy in the field. Because I don't know why it is, and so I feel like I see it well, and I know the holes in every coverage. Like I said, when you watch a lot of film in the offseason like I did, man, I know how every one of our route concepts works out versus against any defense, especially the basic ones, because you see them so much. And so just knowing that in my mind and approaching every play like that, it makes it easier to just tear it up.
Another question I love asking players, Jake, is what do you think has been the best play of your career? A lot of people go with a touchdown throw this year against Oklahoma State. I want to go to last year against Oklahoma State. You had a post route that you ripped 50 yards downfield from a sidearm delivery right on the money to Keanu Hill in double coverage. That, for me, was my favorite play when watching your tape back. But what has been your favorite play of your career so far?
There's a bunch, man. And you're just thinking throwing the ball. I like running the ball too, man. Nice run with Baylor earlier this year for a touchdown. The nice run versus UCF for a touchdown last week and for the first drive of the game. But throwing the ball, man, how can you not love that play to Darius to win the game, bro? Just the energy of Lavelle Edwards Stadium, the way the play worked out, the drive to finish it, the way that the offense got to go out there and win us a game You know what I mean? Like a lot of people talk about our defense and how they've done such a good job, and because we got a heck of a defense, and it was kind of fun to be like, all right, offense, it's time to go win it. Like our defense was put in a tough situation against Oklahoma State, because what a lot of people don't know is like, why did they give up what they gave up? Because that's not what that defense does. And well, it's because they had 2 weeks to prepare for us, and so they changed their offense to the style of the quarterback completely. They hadn't run a read option play the entire year and decided to only run that against us. And so, like, as a defense, when you go out there and you're like, well, they're running something completely different than what we prepared for only 4 days, because we were on a short week. And so, like, it was fun to be like, all right, offense, we're good enough to do this, and we're good enough to go win this game. And so going down the field, and because that play capped that drive, it made it so fun, man. And I think that's the easy choice, obviously, like you said, but at the same time, like, it's the obvious one, like you said, when picking the upset, pick us. When you're picking your favorite play, might as well be the game winner for 35 yards across the field.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Honestly, I think a lot of that makes sense when it comes to that game, because it was a different scheme, and I thought it shows the ebbs and flows of a season. We have a team who's been struggling like Oklahoma State, where, okay, this week they came out and executed really well and played to their potential. And honestly, my favorite play, I would almost argue, was the long scramble that you had right before. You mentioned running the ball right before the game-winning touchdown. That really put you in position to win that game. So I think your abilities as a dual threat in those situations especially are big time. I want to ask you something. Okay, so a lot of times, we talk about comps and things like that, and I try not to do it from guys from the same school when I'm looking at players and going, man, he kind of reminds me of this guy or that guy. But I got to be honest with you, lately I've been watching the tape, and you've reminded me of a lot of the same way that Zach Wilson played when he was at BYU and had a couple of great seasons, especially that last season. And even some of your numbers this year stack up with, not the year that he went number 2 overall and he just lit the entire world on fire, but the year before, where he was very, very solid and you could really start to see his potential come out. I want to know 2 things. Have you ever met up with Zach Wilson and got any sort of advice from him, just with the BYU connection? And whether you have or not, your offensive coordinator Aaron Roderick worked with him back then too. Has he ever broken down the tape and the way that Zach used to run that offense and kind of bring it to you as an example of like, okay, this is how certain reads are, certain route concepts work. This is how we read certain things with Zach. Back when he was at BYU, executing that at such a high level.
Well, I mentioned how I watched a lot of film this offseason. If you had to guess, who do you think I was watching?
Probably him in the same offense, huh?
Him and Jaron Hall, the 2 recent guys who did it in this offense, both getting drafted. A-Rod has drawn some parallels between me and Zach, and honestly in our careers, because when Zach first came in as a freshman, it wasn't hot right away. Like it wasn't great like he was, like you said, that last year and even the year before. And so he had to press through that, and that's what I had to do, man. I had a tough slate to start my career, between West Virginia, Iowa State, Oklahoma State. Like those games were tough. And so, Coach A-Rod has talked to me and was like, hey, this is something that previous quarterbacks have gone through and fought through, and they've grown from it and they've become better players. I want to see you do that. And so he's talked about how you got to progress in this offense and you got to get better in this offense, and you can, and it's been done before you, and Zach did it in so many ways and became the quarterback he became, obviously, and now playing in the NFL and stuff like that. And so Zach is definitely a guy that I've watched a lot of his tape, man, and he's obviously a great quarterback, and he's someone who is hyper successful in this offense. And what more could I ask for than to watch a guy who is hyper successful in the offense that I'm running right now? It was part of my decision to come to BYU. It was like, Coach, Aaron Roderick, he put 2 guys in a row into the draft, and the way he talks about one of our backups here, Romney, he said that kid could have played in the NFL too, but instead he took a 6-figure job for Adobe or something like that. And so, like, he's been developing quarterbacks, and he's one of the best in the business at it, man. He is my only offensive coordinator in the Power 5, but I'd love to find somebody who's better than him, who really thinks they are better than Coach A-Rod, because that guy's money, and everything he does, the way he teaches the game, the way he sees the game, the way he coaches the position. Him and Matt Mitchell are analysts who coaches us, and those guys are pros. They know what they're doing, and it's obvious the way they put out the last 2 before me, and hopefully I can follow those guys' footsteps.
And Jake, Zach went on to the New York Jets, obviously. Dalton is a big New York Jets fan, so I'm sure Dalton will love nothing more than for you to get drafted to the Jets and continue proving him wrong by winning a Super Bowl with the New York Jets. I think that could be a fun career path for you too.
Could be.
It would be a fun one. Yeah, no, and you're right. I think Aaron Roderick is one of the more underrated offensive coordinators, and there's been a long line of BYU quarterbacks who have been successful, going many years back, even all the way back to the days of Steve Young and other guys in between, like Max Hall, right? But I want to know, okay, let's take the BYU guys out of it. Who else is it that you look up to and model your game after, whether it be former NFL quarterbacks, former college quarterbacks, both, if they're big-name MVP guys, or just anybody you model your game after who veterans that you've seen before you?
Yeah, I mean, when I was growing up in Southern California, just in the suburbs of LA, like there was no LA team. So I found myself becoming a Green Bay Packers fan. And so I got to witness, Aaron Rodgers come onto the scene. And that was, I'm speaking to a Jets fan now, which is nice. But just Rodgers, man, that was the guy who I wanted to be like. He's the reason that I play and I wear number 12, like straight up. Like that's why 12. What was my second option here? I wore 11 in junior college and thought I was going to continue with 11 and fell in love with 12 when I came back here, like I did when I was a young kid. And so, that's a guy who I've looked up to for a long time, man. His play style, I feel like a young Aaron Rodgers in the NFL is very similar to how I am. The way I can run the ball so effectively, and then the arm talent that guy has, man, I can only dream for that arm talent and hope that someday my arm talent can match his. But being able to make plays on the run, improvise and stuff like that, and I think he laid the groundwork for, guys like Zach Wilson and stuff. And so him and also, watching Matt Stafford growing up, a guy as tough as him, that guy, I mean, you guys know the clips when he broke his shoulder or separated his throwing shoulder and went in and threw a touchdown. And like that kind of toughness is something that I think I play with. And I've been blessed with nothing as serious as that. But man, that's the kind of way I like to play. I like to play where if the harder you hit me, the quicker I get back up. You know what I mean? And so those are the two guys I'd say that I definitely saw myself wanting to be like, especially at a young age.
Absolutely, dude. Well, listen, you have a bye week this week. Then you got a big one after that, right? The Holy War against Utah in Salt Lake City. How excited are you now in this new Big 12? It's a reignited rivalry between you two schools. How excited are you for the Holy War?
It's gonna be fun, man. We all know about the rivalry around here, and so we know there's going to be a lot of emotion surrounding this game. I think a key for us is going to be remove the emotion from it and just go play another football game and execute. You know what I mean? The higher the emotions go, the lower the intelligence goes a lot of times. And so we got to make sure that we stay cool, calm, and collect on the field. We know that's a hostile environment. We know that place gets rocking. It's not quite as loud as ours, but we know it's pretty loud. And so we're excited to go in there and play some good ball. And I wonder if we'll be underdogs in that game, because something tells me we will for some reason. I keep going through the excuses with the media. I'm like, okay, last week it was the day game along with the East Coast travel, and we still did what we did. So what's the next excuse going to be? I'm curious to hear it, and so and I'm ready for it. So I can't wait to just keep proving them wrong.
If you guys are underdogs, Jake, I'm calling it right now, Don. You're not getting that upset pick. I'm taking that upset pick from myself.
If you don't write it down, you're not getting it.
I'm writing that down immediately. That's such BS you got a couple weeks ago, and you took the lead over me, because I'm taking that if you guys are underdogs. Jake, my last question for you, man, is obviously it's been an amazing season so far, and people have had to recalibrate their thoughts. Before it was like, okay, hopefully BYU can make a bowl game. Now we're talking about BYU is going to maybe win the Big 12, make the college football playoff, and then even who knows after that as well. What is the goals right now in your building?
Win the next game. Then Coach talks about, there's a couple things Coach A-Rod talks about, and one that resonates with this group is every game, every week is your Super Bowl. Our next game is Super Bowl 9. We played 8 of them, and we're treating them like that. Like, we treat it like it's a Super Bowl. How would you prepare if you're going to go play the Super Bowl next Saturday night up in Rice-Eccles Stadium? Like, how would you prepare for that? And so that's how we've got to take the weeks, and we've done a good job of that. And Coach Kalani's been saying in the media since the beginning, it's like we just got to make statements that we made 8 of them and 8 good ones. And so we got to make statement number 9. It is just, we're just talking about playing the next game, man, preparing for these guys. We know it's going to be a hard-fought battle no matter what, because they don't take too kind to us down here, and it's going to be fun to play that game, obviously. But man, we're thinking about winning the next game, man. We're thinking about attacking the workout, attacking practice, attack the bye week, attack the recovery, attack the 3 extra practices we get, you know what I mean? And the 3 extra days of preparation that we get in pads. And so that's just, like I said, that's what I love about this team so much, is I don't know if I've ever met any group of individuals who have come together to attack every week and, go after the same goal and accomplish it the way we do. And there's no complacency. There's no, turning on each other. There's no, hey, you should have thrown that ball to me, or there's no, hey, I should get this award, or I should be doing this. There's none of that in this building, and that's what's so awesome about this team, man. No entitlement. We're all just ready to go win the next game, because what we've come to understand is that the best teams are the teams that get the most players drafted. And so if we're one of the best teams, there's a good chance we're going to get a bunch of us drafted. And so it's about the team success that brings individual success. And so we're excited for next week.
Jake, that's just such a fantastic summary of your team's entire culture and why you've been successful this year. And I'll tell you what, again, you guys continue to prove all the doubters wrong. You've continued, obviously, to prove me wrong, as we talked about before. So I just want to congratulate you on what's been a fantastic season so far. And I think it doesn't get said enough from us here at PFF. It's never personal, right? We watch the tape and we put out the numbers that we do. It's never personal. Was never any hate. Obviously, some of it is educated guesswork, and we're good, right? I'm just making sure one last time that we're good through all of this, and I wish you luck throughout what's been. You've created one of the coolest stories in college football. I think it's been a spectacular story, and good luck to you the rest of the way in a playoff race where schools like BYU actually have a chance this year with this expanded playoff to get in and compete for a national title.
Thanks, man. We're great, man. As long as we keep winning games, we're going to be good.
Listen, Jake. Between you and I, you and I are cool. We could both hate Dalton, honestly. So
yeah, he gets paid to hate me.
On the down low.
That's all it really comes down to.
On the down low, we know that
he don't even actually hate me. He just gets paid to.
We know this guy does not know ball. You and I both know that. So Jake, thanks so much for coming on, dude. The Jake Retzlaff Award. It's right now yours, but keep playing like that. You can win the Jake Retzlaff Award, the inaugural one. But man, hell of a year you're on right now, and I can't wait to watch you the rest of the year.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on.